when you chose design, whether you knew it was going to be interior design or not? It's kind of a vocation behind that.
You need a lot of passion to stay on course with what you're doing. Why don't you consider architecture or design side? And then it's like, oh, there's a career in this.
Welcome to Better by Design, a podcast that inspires fellow creators to make meaningful connections and celebrate their true passion. My name is Ziggy. Join me as I sit down with friends to a different conversation, discover why we do the things we do, and explore how design can make an impact in our daily lives. Hello and welcome to my podcast. Well, my living room, my workplace, basically my home, and to the premiere episode of Better by Design. In this episode, we will be joined by two great design directors who will share their love and passion for design. So let's start. Well, welcome to our first episode. You know, the purpose of this is really just to talk about how design affects our life. So let's just have a casual chat and let's begin.
One of my earliest memories about wanting to do something creative, I just liked drawing and being creative, and I was always heavily into art, I think, and I saw someone doing the sign writing outside a shop, like, the old-fashioned art writing outside. I think it was a butcher shop or something like that. That'd be a really cool job. I'd really like to do that. So, and I said that at a family Christmas party. I'm sure my parents must have been, their eyes rolling back in the head going, maybe not, maybe not. And then my uncle said to me, well, Kathy, there's something called a commercial artist. He said, maybe you could be a commercial artist. So that's, I guess, graphic design. Flexed around thinking maybe I'd be an art teacher, maybe I'd be this. And I didn't really know it all. And I just put down 6 different creative courses when I did my HSC and got into interior design. I could have also got into landscape architecture or graphic design or industrial design. But this is where I ended up and this is where I stayed. But I knew there was a job called a designer, but I didn't know anything about interior design. I didn't know anything about interior design, architectural history or anything like that. So I learned it all at uni. I very much just fell into it and fate and the right thing.
I guess when we were young, right, our generation, we don't have any computer games or laptop to play. So we have to kind of like pick up a few things around us and build to amuse ourselves. So I ended up using a lot of, building the house, a children's house on our own, but using like bed sheets, pillows, whatever you can find. And I ended up, my version always better than my friend. And then later on, I found out that I can draw. And I did well in drawing. And at that time, you still don't know what to get out there, right?
I used to carve the most amazing things out of dirt hillsides and army camps with all the army men. And I'm pretty sure we had cowboys and Indians figures as well. And there was always little things carved out of the back of our backyard where I was making bases and forts.
The best career that the parent dream of is like doctor, lawyer or something like that. Designer, just like what? How are you going to earn your living?
Mine was a nurse.
And then when I was in high school, I think the point turned when one of my teachers seeing how I draw and how I write the script. And he just started, why don't you consider architecture or design side? So, and then just like, there's a career in this. In Thailand, if you want to get into a good university, you have to go through what we call entrance examination for architecture. I can drop off 2 subjects, which is chemist and bio. So I don't have to do it. So I said, right, that's my what I should target for. So
I had this, my father said to me, we had to fill out a form where you put 6 subjects down. So when you do that test,
Yeah.
then you put your 6 choices and then your results and the popularity and the size of the course
Right.
dictates where you get into. Architecture at that time was actually much easier to get into than interior design, just in terms of the course was very small, so it was much more competitive to get in. So there was only 40 spots. And I remember my dad said, so Catherine, have you looked at architecture? And I'm like, I'm not studying for 6 years. I've just done 6 years of high school. I can't do that. So 4 years felt like an absolute eternity. So 6 years was just inconceivable that I could remotely study something for 6 years. So that didn't make the cut. I put down all these other random design things that probably wouldn't have been very good at, but
I came from a technical high school, meaning we have sort of half of our subjects were technical, like drafting and things like that. The examination was 2 hours, and I finished the whole exam in like 30 minutes. I was just sitting there, and then the teacher came up to me and he says, "Are you finished?" I said, "Yeah, I finished." "Okay, you give me your exam and then you can leave." And then at 6 o'clock, I saw my name on the list, and I'm like, "Oh yay!"
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
we had to go into the city with our portfolios. And, they're this size. They're massive A1 portfolios. We had to carry our portfolios into the city. And I remember myself and my friend both tried to get into that college, which is called COFA. And we had to take our portfolios in, which is basically your art portfolio.
Okay.
And it was the day after our Year 12 formal. We had a little nap in Hyde Park while we waited for them to review our portfolios. And then we had to walk back and collect them and then go home, which is a sort of hours train ride away at that time. So that was a bit sad. And we didn't get into that one.
There you go.
What a waste. I could have stayed out much later on my Year 12 formal. First job non-design related, or first like really bad job, or first design job. Well, actually, my first design job was something that's a little bit sideways. So it was I finished uni, and there was one of these lovely recessions that the world has, and there was just no jobs at all. I took a job working for a rug company, designing rugs and textiles. There was no computers, no nice Photoshop program. So part of my job was illustrating the rug on an A3 page with coloured pencils.
Wow.
Recreating the text
I
of
know.
the stipple. And then we had to take that to the client and get it signed off. So I was basically colouring in for a living, which, was pretty good. Unfortunately, part of the job was also kind of retail sales. It was also dealing with clients who, when they got their massive 3 by 4 metre rug, said it didn't quite look like my coloured illustration, or I don't like it because it's too big in the room, and just like so. And then I also had to work in the factory drawing up the rugs in real at 1:1. So there was a projection system you projected up the reverse of the image onto a big plastic sheet. I traced it out.
Yeah.
And I used to get up 3 meters in the air without a safety harness. And then draw the pattern for the tufter on the rug, and then write 1:1. And then I'd have to draw it on in these blue whiteboard markers, basically, and then also write the code on for the tufter. So it's like wool 1 + 1 + 2 + 1. So it's, 3 strands to 1. So whatever the strand of the wool gun was. So I had to write.
Oh my God.
I'm kind of like leaning in, bending down to pick up my pen, reaching up, and then I'd have to climb down. I would come out and I would be covered with wool, and it would be in everything, in my hair, in my clothes. It was just disgusting. I earned $28,000 Australian a year, and then I take a pay cut to go to my first actual design job. I knew that I didn't want to do that job forever. I knew that I went to university for 4 years to become an interior designer. I didn't want to suddenly become a rug designer and work in retail sales and flip rugs around a showroom. I honestly the money didn't really
Yeah.
It wasn't really in the equation. That it was like, okay, this is what the job is paying. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes, that's true.
I got a job with Woods back at Thailand.
Oh.
So I'm the first Thai designer that they actually hired. And I remembered the first project started with the boss, Australian boss, of course. I was working with like 6 or 7 Aussie designer, and then the first assignment I got like, Tanya, can you do this test fit? So I'm just like, what is test fit? In university you just study a course of like a unique technique in a particular way, but it's no one talking about test fit or space planning at that time, right? And just imagine at that time, like Kathy said, it's a computer. You have to do it all manually, even drawing. You have to like do how many versions of test fit from tracing paper. Sketch after sketch and so on. So it was fun. I learned a lot. And one thing that I forgot to mention is quite funny at that time. It's my first time to learn and to know that there is a drywall, and the drywall can kind of like construct with MDF, and I just start to understand MDF and plasterboard. And because at that time in Thailand you kind of build a wall with brick. And then cement render, right? And, or if it's a timber structure, you would put plywood and nothing else. So it's kind of like first door to open, like, there is some other material that can do this sort of thing, and the wall can be a different thickness. My God. Really important for any young one to have a really good, strong mentor that is really willing to walk you through, teach you through any type of question, any hiccup you had, any roadblock you have. And I'm still thankful, really thankful to him, and we're still friends until today.
Yeah, having a mentor is so important, but also for like a long period of time. I think that if it was flitting in and out, it wouldn't have meant as much to me, or also been as effective if it had been sort of 3 weeks on a project, then you go off and do something else.
My mentor was Australian. Is Australian.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's Australian, but he loves to drink. He loves to smoke. He drinks in the middle of the afternoon. He smokes the whole day. And he literally smokes the whole day. So every time we would go there and we would do a session with him, we come up and like, feel like it smell like ashtrays. But the lessons that I learned from him were very precious. Until this day, I still think about what he would do and how I would approach a problem.
Yeah,
I hear that voice in my head. John would say this,
Yeah, true. So true.
I kind of became the office Nazi for the texters, so the Pantones and the coloured pencils. And people would come to me and I'd like kind of look at them and go, what colour do you want? And I had them sort of set up into boxes that were based around colour. So if you wanted to use browns, all the browns and greys and blacks were in one box. You'll see the boxes underneath my drawing board. Still going around here. So someone has put a green pencil in my brown box. Really?
The proof. For me, I guess I got something to do with yellow tracing paper. This roll of tracing yellow paper came from Australia, so of course I'm just like, oh, this is really cool. So all my colleagues and my boss know that if they're looking for any roll of yellow tracing paper, they have to come to my desk because Tanya kept it. Go and find her desk. It's just like, this is a cool thing. I have to like have my hand on it. Don't you dare take it away from me.
Oh, God.
So I refuse to do any sketch if it's not yellow tracing paper, because at that time it's not a common thing that you can get in Thailand.
I remember being asked to do mistakes or correct mistakes on architects' plans.
Razor blade.
You need to have a really fine kind
I
of way of
know.
doing
Oh,
it the
you've got to
same
get the thin,
direction.
bendy one. It's got to have a
Have the
flex.
flex.
Ah,
Yeah.
love that.
Oh,
So
and
they
then
only, but then every time I would do it, the mylar paper will pile up and pile up. All the architects go, here's another set, here's another set, here's another set. And I'm like, God damn it, how am I going to finish this? And you know what I did? I'm like, no one's looking. I started using spit.
and
And
the
it was
tracing
like,
paper started bubbling.
yeah.
Thankfully, it's no COVID-19 then.
Tell you, was you needed to get the bendy razors that you use in razor blades, and then you put tape, masking tape around the top
On
of
the
it and
one
fold it
side.
over. So you had a little, you had like
Ah.
a little grippy handle, and then it had to flex, and you could flick it really fast, and it didn't make a hole. Didn't make a hole in your tracing paper. Once you've scratched out something 2 times, the tracing paper is very, very thin. And we used to do the revision clouds in lead pencil, so you could rub out the revision cloud, and that,
Oh,
hence the
gosh.
rubber. So we had, the arsenal of tools for a designer was a big brush, and the brush was to clean up all the crap that you were scraping off tracing paper, and the rubber
Yeah.
shavings. And
When you guys talking about tracing paper, it's remind me that the new generation of designer these days, they won't understand the smell of the blueprint. Especially when it just came out from the
and the feel on your fingers.
you open the drawing and it's just like that aroma.
The
The feel on your fingers when you've just printed 600 drawings for a tender of a 30,000 square meter fit out, and you had to do 6 sets of 100 drawings for the builders, and then you've got these chemicals all over your hands, and you're quite high, not in a good way, and my previous design firm I worked at, when we got rid of the plotter, I was like an old dinosaur. I'm like, you can't take the plotter away. It was a nice black and white photocopier one by then. It wasn't a die line printer. And now I'm back at Genzo, and we've got an A1 plotter again, an A1 colour plotter. I haven't used it yet. I don't even know how to use it.
Yes, so true. So true. Well, A3 for me, I guess for me the big issue is with my eyesight, and when it's so small, I need to buy a magnifier glass. So early in life, I'm just like, I can't read this, man. Or you have to draw 1:1 or 1:10 or 1:50.
One of the I think it's really important that people don't take winning awards as something that defines career success, because awards are very subjective, and they used to give prizes in those. I think sometimes even just seeing the first thing you've designed built, and you walk on the site and you go, oh my God, sometimes it's sometimes the client says, is that what you want it to look like? And you're like, yes. Maybe it's seeing the first thing built that you really like.
As a young designer, if you ask me what the first thing I feel proud of, is actually that I'm seeing something that we design and draw, built in the way that, yes, this is what I imagined on my drawing board, and oh my God, this is a real one-to-one things that happening. So I think that's probably the proudest moment. That's one project that I feel really proud of, because the scale of the project and the timeline is just like non-achievable. And we have to, from draw until build, within 1 year. You have to go through all the briefing, design, documentation, tender, and get it built in 1 year. It's just something that, oh my God, it was totally stressful. We ended up having a really good partnership with clients and all consultants. Everyone kind of like have one flagship that we have to get it done together. We always gone out for a drink as a team with the client, and they just like sponsor us a drink, and we drink like until 4 a.m. sometimes. To top it up, that project is actually won some award as well at the end, and we get it done on time. So
mine was more also related to a project that I created, and the client was one of a difficult client, and then he started drawing a pizza, and he says, this is my reception, this is my office, this is another office, this is the pantry. Long story short, it was riddled with difficulty, construction, materials, everything was just a problem until a year later it was recognized by a lot of award-giving bodies. It was a proud moment. I literally just burst into tears in my workstation, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So I must have done something right. So
We email twice or 3 times before you click send. And don't write the email when you feel totally frustrated. Don't send. You can write it, save it in the draft box, and then read it again the next morning before, whether you should send it or not.
I reckon for me it's fire engine red, highly glossy metal panels is ever going to look any good.
Me, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is to check the spelling 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, because I don't want to have anything projected on the image during a presentation describing somewhere where we like a kitchen as a wet panty.
For me, it's easy. We need a lot of passion to stay on course with what we're doing. So I think passion is the key ingredient for me as well, and it kind of pulled me from then until now. Passion to do the design work, good design work.
Yeah.
And because without it, you kind of you're gonna keep asking yourself why you have to work this hard, why you have to have a sleepless night. Why we have to do all this type of work. So I think stay with your passion and follow it through. I think that's probably would be the key ingredient that I want to add for everyone actually.
We're very lucky that when you chose design, whether you knew it was going to be interior design or not, it's kind of a vocation behind that. So a lot of people don't have something that they love, even if it's to then go and make a career out of. So we all loved art or drawing or just being creative people and have been able to build a career out of it. So I think that sometimes when we're in the grind of a client being difficult or some really bad deadlines, and you can get like in any job get sort of battered down by it, but we can also remember that we're actually doing something we love, and we get that really great really a thrill when seeing your project constructed. And not every person's career has that. Quite often it's a very dry thing that they do to get paid, but there's no love behind it, whereas we do actually love what we do. So
yes,
that's totally that's true. Kathy,
mine would be never be afraid of making mistakes, and never be afraid to voice out anything that you have in your head, because that's when sometimes genius comes out. Great. Okay, thank you so much for this session, and I hope that we can continue another conversation in the future.
Forward to the next subject.
This is not going to end, but the subjects will keep getting better and better. Great, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Wait.
Okay, do I look beautiful enough? Does my background look good enough? Clearly we're cutting and pasting this.
Yes. That background of yours, that wood, is that a door or is that
It's a stereo panel that they put together and they come. What?
Your voice recording.
Oh shit! I didn't.
How do I do that?
In the search bar, you will see go voice recording, and then it shows on the left.
There we go. Lesson learned for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you show me how to do that again?